Que pasa, amigos? It's raining outside. So today, I'm gonna show you how to do the 100-hour service on your boat motor. Now I have a 70 Suzuki 4-stroke on my boat, and we're gonna start off with the fuel water separator. First thing we're gonna put on, super easy. Screw the old one off, screw the new one on. I'll show you right now. Alright, next thing we're going to do is install the inline fuel filter. You're going to need a pair of needle nose pliers to get this job done. This thing has two hoses going into it. It's got one at the top, one on the side. Squeeze that little clamp together, move it up the hose. Same thing with this, squeeze it, move it back down the hose. Then your hoses should come off. Take your little rubber fitting that holds it in place off of your old fuel filter, put it on your new fuel filter. It'll slide right back into place. Alright guys, so the next thing we're going to do is drain the motor oil out of the boat, and we're going to replace the oil filter. Make sure when you go to get this stuff that they give you the new seals and washers. Black ones I believe are seals, the metal one's a washer. Now you're going to need one for the oil, one for the lower unit gear oil. That we'll show you in a little bit, but we're going to drain the oil and switch out the oil filter. On my motor you need a 5/16 Allen key to undo the drain plug for the motor oil. There is going to be oil inside the old oil filter. When you unscrew it, you don't want to get a bunch of oil down in your motor, so shove a rag down in there, that'll take care of that. Once you change your oil filter and drain your oil, you're going to want to put your oil plug back in, but you want to replace this washer. Make sure when you go to get all this stuff to do this that they give you a new washer for this plug. So replace your washer on the plug, put your plug back in. My motor takes 4.7 quarts when you change out the oil filter. Your local marine place will tell you how many quarts to put into your motor. Shout out to Marine Warehouse, they're great in Wilmington, North Carolina. They've helped me, walk me through the process of everything to do with my boat and save me a ton of money. We're gonna put this plug back in, put 4.7 quarts of oil. Alright guys, for the next step of this process, we're going to be draining the lower unit gear oil. This right here, we're going to be replacing that. There's two bolts that you have to take out. You're going to need a big flathead like that. You're going to want to take the bottom one out first, because if you take the top one out first and then the bottom one out, oil goes everywhere. If you take the bottom one out first, a lot of oil will not come out until you undo the top bolt. You're going to need one of these. This is a pump. What we're going to do is put this end into the bottom. This end screws right into the bottom plug of the gear motor oil. And what you're gonna do is pump this oil up into the lower unit until it comes out of the top. Once it comes out of the top, you're gonna screw your top plug back in. Whenever you pull this out, that will keep the oil from coming back out. You are gonna wanna get those plugs in pretty quickly so you don't lose oil. That's how you know you have enough oil in it, is when the oil comes out of the top as you pump it into the bottom. Once it comes out of the top, you're good. Now when you take the bolts out, those plugs, you're gonna wanna replace these washers. Make sure you get these when you go to the shop to get your stuff. You're gonna wanna replace those. Alright guys, now that we got all the stuff done that you need to do for your motor every single time, this is something that I do once a year. We're going to change the spark plugs out. Imperative to have a spark plug socket. I've never done it without it and won't ever do it without one. I believe this thing cost about 20 or 30 bucks at O'Reilly's Auto Parts, but this one is a 5/8 adjustable socket, and it's got a magnet on the inside, which helps out tremendously, because the last thing you want to do is break a spark plug off in your motor and then you're out of commission. So get one of these if you're going to do it. Craftsman, the only socket wrench there is. Guys, you're also going to need an 8mm socket in order to get these out. New spark plug in. Do not force this thing. Should go in super easy. Do not over tighten the spark plug. It will break off. Just get it just where it's tightening up, and don't put a lot of torque on this thing. It doesn't need it. It'll work itself in there very easily. Just like that. That's it, that's all you need. Stick your plug back in. Put your bolt back in. Repeat this process 4 times. One of the last steps we're going to take on this thing, take the propeller off, grease up that prop shaft in there. We're going to use Yamalube marine grease lubricant. First, you're going to pop your cotter pin out, straighten it where you can slide it out. guys, this is optional, but the same marine grease, you can get a pump grease gun and you can go into every single one of your fittings here, these little nipples here, and pump. You can also get some of this marine grease, put it in your grease gun, and grease your bearings up for your trailer tires. Now, I have bearing buddies on mine that have that same nipple fitting on them. Alright guys, that's it. All this stuff costed me about $110, $115, and they would charge you around $400 to do this at a shop. So if you want to save some money, do it yourself. It's not hard. Everything that I just did was explained in the video, and it's just as easy as it looks. If this helped you, if you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe to the channel. I'll do a lot of how-to videos, fishing and hunting videos as well, and the occasional podcast will be thrown in on there. So you guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of the channel.